everyone, this is Deborah. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the importance of developing um, high self esteem. And for those who have issues with depression and believing in themselves and confidence, having high self esteem allow you to have a confidence that improves every living area of your life. It could be personal, it could be professional, you know, your relationships with yourself, your relationship as it relates to others. But more important, developing high self-esteem is really important when it comes to mental, emotional, and personal health for the individual. You know, a lot of times when a person has low self-esteem, they don't take care of themselves. They always put themselves last, and they put a lot of other people before them. It could be that you feel like it's your faith, you were raised a certain way or whatnot. It could be the way you support your family, the way you support your relationships and interact with other people. And it just becomes a way of life. And a lot of times we have this misconception that low self-esteem, is something that permeates in all areas of our lives. And it's just if you are successful and you're able to reach certain heights that you don't have low self-esteem. That's not true. The last couple of weeks, there have been two major people that have many people have in common that we all kind of know, Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, who committed suicide. A lot of times, depression is definitely chemically induced, but also, depression could be brought on by circumstances. It could be brought on a lot by, the way we show up in the world and the choices that we make. One of the things that low self-esteem will drive you again not to take care of yourself, not to love yourself, not to take the time to pull yourself together. A lot of people some people when they get to the point where they are extremely depressed and they're not really taking care of themselves. They may not brush their teeth. They may not take care of, comb their hair. They may not just pull themselves together, or they may just, get up, and just show up, any old kind of way. But, before one of the things that, there are like at least 5 major things that have to be done, by the individual in order for them to pull themselves out of it, pull themselves out of that rut. And one of the first things is recognizing that you are in a rut, recognizing that, you could do better, that, begin to start seeing, a future state. How do you, is this the life that you really want and stuff like that? Is this the life you really want to have? If your answer truly is no, then that means you have a lot of work to do. Nobody's going to nobody's just going to hand you, the life you want and on a silver platter. You have to put in the work. You have to make a decision you have to make a decision to stop the downward spiral and begin to do the work. You have to do the work. And that means that the first step is recognizing that, okay, I want to feel better about myself. I want to be happy. One of the things that I myself, I pride myself in living the charmed life. This is the life that I'm going to design myself, a life where I love myself. And I want other people to love themselves too. So once you recognize that, oh my God, I would like to, I want to do more for myself. I want to take care of myself. I want to look differently. I want to feel a different way. Well, the first thing is you have to start taking care of yourself. And that means mind, body, and soul. And that's where it all starts. Because when you start taking care of yourself, you start feeling, you begin to start feeling better about yourself. And part of feeling better about yourself, you have to retrain your own thoughts, because we all have thoughts that flash through our head, even without being without our control initially, where your thoughts, you'll have all these negative thoughts. We are our worst enemy. When you change the way you think, you change the way you feel. And then when you change the way you view things, you can see it opens new doors for you. It'll open possibilities to great new beginnings. If you're one of those kind of people where, okay, you want to look a certain way, say for instance, you want to lose a few pounds. Okay, from there, get on an exercise regimen, join a gym, take a few minutes out of your day. If you can't do those things or work it in, go for a walk. Scale back, look into doing, changing up your diet a little at a time, not eating all that junk food, being able to monitor yourself. And that's going to that's a part of it in developing high self-esteem, is becoming self-aware. Learn how to control the things you think about. And that means, in controlling the things you think about, that means being, meditating a little bit, getting in a quiet space, kind of thinking about what are the things that that actually permeate in your mind all the time, or just resonate. And then what you do is you start feeding yourself other thoughts. You are beautiful, you are amazing. We can do this. It just takes time. Nothing is, Rome wasn't built in a day, and nor is self-esteem. It's one of those things where over time it's going to take practice. And the more you teach yourself, and, the more and more you teach yourself how to control your thoughts, being self-aware, feeding yourself good thoughts and stuff like that. A lot of times part of our self-esteem is the way we interact with other people around us. And that brings me to my next point, boundaries. Boundaries are one of the things that most people who have trouble with high self-esteem lack. Not able to say no to somebody, caring about what everybody else thinks. Not just some of the time, all of the time. It's the majority of the time. Anybody just could come in and just ruin the day. Nobody should have that much power. That's a lot of power for an individual to hold over your life and how you feel. Because when somebody can walk in and say a certain thing to you, and then all of a sudden it just ruins your entire day, that's too much power. Right there, then and there. That should be like a warning to you at that moment in time that individual, you're going to have to take away the power from them, their influence. They have too much influence on you. This could be your mother, this could be your brother, this could be your aunt, this could be your husband or your wife. The thing about it is, it's these individuals, if they are doing you harm emotionally, then you have to take it down a notch. Have a dialogue with them about how to speak to you, how to talk to you, and then on top of everything else, how you react to them. I say that, you don't want to react, you want to respond. Responding to negative things requires you to sit back, take some thought into it. You may not address it that day or whatnot, but you can make a strategy as to what you would do in order for you to ensure that you don't feel that way. One of the things that is so troublesome, very, very troublesome, with those people with low self-esteem is the internal mental battle that occurs because they don't feel like they're worth it. They don't feel like they deserve, to be treated any better, especially if, they're trying to change their life around from a life where they may have made a lot of mistakes, and everybody and everyone around them want them to continue to pay for that for the rest of your life. That's when you have to make a conscious decision about removing yourself from those environments, putting yourself in an environment that you can be your best you. You got to get after. You got to be willing to get after and go for your best life. And you're not going to have your best life sitting up, handed to you. You have to take it. You have to seize it. You have to be the one that wants to. You have to be the one that wants your happiness and your joy and your sanity and your self-esteem more than anyone, because nobody's just going to hand it to you. It's one of those things where you have to get after it. You have to go for it. You have to just make a choice. Life is filled with choices, and every time you take care of yourself, you're one step closer to building that perfect life that you want and that you want to have. And so part of that, part of building up your self-esteem and your self-worth is creating a mindset where you understand that you deserve it. Tell yourself that. Wake up in the morning and tell yourself that this is going to be the day where I'm going to be one step closer to the life that I've always wanted, and just decide that because that's how successful people do it. They just decide. One of the things that and I'm sharing a little bit about myself, since this is my start into a new phase or journey in my life, and sharing my wisdom here on this forum. But I've also faced moments in my life where I have had challenges that hit the core person of who I am, and my my self-esteem. One of the things I asked myself was, how did I get here? Instead of trying to lash out and blame everybody else, what is it in me that allowed me to put myself into these circumstances so that I can have this type of exposure that would drive down the very woman that I am trying to strive to be? When I began to look at myself and turn my questions inside in me internally, and I saw my future state, I knew that my happiness, and even if I had everything in a whole host of friends and family support system, all those things in place, none of those things are going to make me happy. Happiness is not somebody else's job. Building self-esteem is not somebody else's job. It is your job. And it is not only is it your job, it's your job to protect that. You protect that by every decision, every choice that you make. When I made a decision to say, Deborah, how did we get here? What happened? I took stock. I began to own, I owned it. I own that I got me here. And yet there are players that interacted with me to help drive down, my self-esteem. And but I made a decision that I was going to remove every obstacle. I was going to fight my way through it, no matter what. And I saw who I wanted to be and where I wanted to go, and the type of woman that I wanted to see, and how I wanted to show up in the world. And I wasn't going to let other, my past circumstances dictate what the future that I saw myself having. And I want that for you. I want that for, I want that desperately for you too. And when I got that mindset and I was owning it, that gave me power to control where I was going to go, how I was going to take that next step. I told myself I would not allow myself to get back in that state again. I had hit rock bottom in my world. So from there, I learned, I started trying to understand that I didn't have the right boundaries on. And no, definitely is a complete sentence. A lot of times we don't want to say no to people, and then on top of everything else, we care a little bit more than we should about others, what's going on in their world, and it's nothing wrong with caring about other people and trying to be there for them or whatnot. But when you are in that, there's an emergency situation that's occurring in your own life, and that is protecting your peace, protecting your sanity, protecting your happiness, because all those things are drivers when it comes to high self-esteem. So make a list of, make a decision today. Make a list of those things that are impacting your self-esteem. Create boundaries, healthy boundaries that allow you to live out your best you. Deleverage yourself with all the with things that are overtasking you, that won't allow you to that will not allow you to take care of yourself, to love yourself. Because when you begin to love yourself and you show up in the world, with holding the greatest amount of confidence, and you trust me, other people, they will notice it too, and it improves every area of your life. Anyway, I hope this message was helpful to you, to somebody. Anyway, I look forward to sharing more of my little tidbits as time goes on. Anyway, like, subscribe, and comment below and let me know if there's some things that you would love for me to dialogue about. Have a great day. Bye.